Hi, everyone. Thank you again so much for your help with the 8th grade PSAT 8-9 on October 15th. This video will be pretty short, but I just want to highlight a few things. The most important thing to remember, and you've probably heard me say this before if you've helped out with the PSAT 8-9 for the 8th grade test, this is a test that we can't screw up. So we give a kid too much time by a minute, something weird happens, there's an irregularity, like we're going to be okay. This is a test that's a local assessment, which means we can sort of administer it as we need to at the local level. So it's not like a national SAT where there's a bunch of sort of rigid things that if something happens, it could harm a kid's score. All right, so a couple quick things. The morning of testing, again, please arrive by 7:30. If you, we'll have coffee and bagels up in room 2214. If you are helping out with a standard time room, your materials will be up in 2214. If you're helping out with an extended time room, your materials are going to be up in 2408, which is right by the library and the ARC, kind of on the front side of the building. 2214 is on the back side of the building, the CDW side of the building. I have on here coffees and bagels will be in the main office, I see, but we're likely going to have those in 2214, but I'll make sure to update you when that morning approaches. There's also a cheat sheet that will be linked, that was linked with this video. Please just review that before you come in. It just kind of highlights some of those key things that often come up when you're doing kind of administering the test or checking students in or going through the pre-admin activities. Before testing, we will allow students to start arriving to your room in small batches around 8:15. It kind of depends on how room setup goes, as well as just when students are dropped off. I would encourage you to make sure your room setup is good. We're going to do our best to have the desks in rows prior to testing, but sometimes that doesn't always work out. So we'll get the desks in rows if they're not already. We'd like for them ideally to be facing a clock. Again, it's not a national test, so if they're not, it's not a 911, but ideally that they're facing a clock. Your answer sheets all have labels. All of the students have individualized answer labels on their answer sheet. So I would encourage you to go ahead and have your answer sheets out on desks prior to kids arriving. And then as you check in students at the door, you can say, hey, go find your answer label. They're in alphabetical order or they're in a specific order on desks. You'll want to verify that students have the right answer label, but that would probably make check-in the easiest. As you're doing check-in in terms of attendance, P for present, A for absent, they don't need any IDs. I'll be in the hall. We'll have a couple people in the hall answering any questions. But if they tell you their name, assume it's them and we'll move on. Pre-administrative tasks, if you recall and helped out last year, students no longer take paper tests, and so this was sort of a nightmare. Our labels didn't make it because of shipping last year. We have the labels this year, so kids really don't, the kids need to bubble no demographic data, which will save us a significant amount of time, probably 30 or 40 minutes. They will need to do a couple of other things. So this is something about half the rooms forgot last year, and I've highlighted it in yellow. There'll be a segment in your administrative instructions where on the actual testing booklet where they're reading the problems, at the very top on the back, they're going to write their first and last name. They can write their school code, which is this 144214, and their testing room code on that if they want, but they have to get their name on this. That would be super helpful. The only things they're bubbling on their answer sheet, there are 3 of them. There is the form code, which goes up here and on their answer sheet, and you can find that on the back of their testing booklet. And again, your testing script will tell you that. They're going to bubble in their test ID, which again is going to be on the back of their test booklet, and your script will tell you that. They will not have a serial book number. And then there's a testing room code, which they'll also bubble in, which Suzanne will give you and will be a part of your instructions. So those are the 3 things they're bubbling. It should be pretty seamless. The other thing that most rooms, or not most rooms, about half the rooms didn't do, we still had scores, which I was grateful for, but please, 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 in your script, it will tell the students to sign and print their name and date it. The certification statement in the pre-administrative script notes that scores may be invalid or they won't score if this is not signed by the student. So please, please, please ensure that your students sign the certification and then bubble in again form code, which is A, the test ID B, and then their testing room code D. They'll write their names on the back of the booklet. That's all they have to fill out prior to testing. If a student comes in late, I'll let them enter your room so long as you're still on this portion of the test. If you've already started the test, we'll no longer let them into a testing room. The seating charts you're going to pass out in a serpentine pattern. The testing booklets you're going to pass out in a serpentine pattern, which is that snaking pattern up and down your rows. And you can write the student's initial on your seating chart. Again, there are no serial book numbers like an SAT, so you're just writing down their initials in the general direction and that they were distributed and how they're seated in your classroom. So the seating charts are pretty straightforward and are part of your packet. During testing, if you notice someone is looking off someone else's answers or they fill in bubbles after time is called, address the issue quietly, note the duration of the issue, the action you take, and what the student takes. Don't disrupt the class. Don't make a big thing out of it at the time. Let us know during a break and we'll deal with it. But I'll handle those sorts of issues with cheating. Usually students follow pretty good instructions on the 8th grade test. If there's a fire alarm, just note how far you are in if the fire alarm goes off, note how far you are in the test, write it down on the board, get your kids out of the building by following kind of the fire procedures in terms of exiting the room, which are located by the door. I will bring attendance sheets and then we'll figure it out from there. Restrooms, we will probably use stanchions in the middle of the hallway, which will simply just allow students and direct students which end of the hallway they go for restrooms. But students shouldn't be loitering in the halls. When we're doing our breaks, students really only need to be in the halls to use the restroom or to get a drink of water. If they still want to take their break, bring them back into the room, just because it gets really loud if we've got 150 students in the halls and another 150 that are still in their testing room testing. Again, if you should not leave the room and leave the materials there. If you need a break, just grab one of us in the hall. Again, if there's an irregularity, we'll figure that out together. The most important thing you're doing during the testing, other than monitoring students, is just recording their start and stop times for each section. Yeah, you can do work or do other things. If you've got a computer, please don't be hammering on the keys or doing things that are disruptive to students' work. After testing, you'll dismiss your room once you've finished all testing procedures and collected all of the materials. You're going to return materials in standard time rooms to the main office. So on the west side of the building, kind of that front circle, I'll have some signage there. Give us a few minutes just because it'll be me checking you in, and there's about 12 testing rooms. Special service rooms, you're going to return those materials to the place that you picked them up, which is 2408 in the hotspot. In the bin, when you return it, if you could please separate your used and unused answer sheets and testing booklets, that will make life much, much clearer and easier on the back end. Make sure your seating chart is completed. I'll already have your attendance sheet. I'll try to collect those at the beginning or after test 1. And anything else that we've given you, if you could just make sure it's organized in your testing bin, that would be great. Most importantly, again, that your used and unused materials are separated so that we can get those ready for a makeup exam the following Saturday. Again, if you have any questions, please let us know. We can't screw this up, so don't be nervous. We really, really appreciate your time, and that's it. Email me or swing out in the hall and grab me if you need me. Thank you.